Hey everyone, how are you? It's Makeda Valletta, also known as the Body Scientist. I am recording this video on the beach in Chicago, so there may be people walking by. I'm recording this on 2 cameras because I would like to post this to my YouTube page when I'm done. So if I'm looking in 2 different places, that's why. So welcome. A lot of you know that I'm known as the Body Scientist, so I'm very much into all the sciences that have to do with the body and our body performing at its highest level and being as healthy as possible. This is something that I've dedicated my life to, and I have been studying since the 90s. And so my academic background is in the biological sciences, exercise and sports science, nutritional chemistry. And before I got into exercise and sports science, I wanted to be a biotechnologist. So I wanted to research cures for genetic diseases, specifically cancer, but I was very much into infectious disease as well, a microbiology nerd. And I always asked questions, right? I always asked why, like why is something an epidemic, or certain disorders in the body, why, like where does it come from? And so today I'm going to talk about how to prevent STDs and vaginal health. Really, I guess the overall focus will be on vaginal health, but within that conversation, we also have the topic of preventing vaginal infections, and a lot of this stuff can be used for men as well, okay? This is something that I've gotten asked about a lot, especially not just as a biological scientist, but also working in the realm of sexuality as well. I'm also a sacred sexual educator. And so I remember, actually I'm not going to get on that topic yet. So let's just talk about vaginal health. Last week I did a video on the healing properties of semen. And there were some people who had written, that it's not good for a man to ejaculate inside of a woman too much because it would mess up her pH. And there is a lot of truth to that. A woman's vaginal canal is supposed to be acidic, extremely acidic, okay? So you have a lot of people in like the whole health realm that will say that everything needs to be alkaline. Everything needs to be alkaline. Everything does not need to be alkaline. Our digestive system and our vaginal canal needs to be acidic. Semen is alkaline, okay? And so that's why the vagina is a very rough place for semen, because it's so alkaline. So you have that issue. And so now, if a man is ejaculating inside of a woman a lot, then yes, it can cause her vaginal canal to become more alkaline. And the way to circumvent that is by the woman can use apple cider vinegar. You can use apple cider vinegar or lemon juice. You can take diluted apple cider vinegar, diluted lemon juice. You can, put it in like another container, take a syringe, and then shoot it into hold on, there's people walking by, and then shoot it into people are so nosy. Let me just give a side thing. I'm from New York, right? And as much as people could say New Yorkers are rude, and there's 8.5 million people in New York mind their business, number one. And number two, in New York, I can find a nice park or something to sit in where I'm removed from everybody. In New York, our parks, we have places where we could be in the cut. I could go sit up on a rock. I could go sit behind a bush. In Chicago, the parks are no matter where you sit, people have access to you, and people keep passing me. And then everybody keeps looking at me record this video. It's like they're all up in my face and all up in the screen. In New York, people just mind their damn business, okay? That shit gets on my nerves. But anyhow, so sometimes I might have to quiet down what I'm saying because of people and the kids in my face, right? So anyhow, a woman wants to maintain an acidic pH, and thank you, Sakina, in our vaginal canal. And also, so you have that, and then you have the bacterial balance. And that's something that I talk about a lot, we have a microbiome in our gut, which is we have more bacterial cells in our body than we do actual human cells, like a part of, body cells. We have more bacterial cells than anything. And so we're mostly bacteria, and we have hundreds of different strains, thousands of different strains of bacteria, and trillions of quintillions of bacteria in our gut and in our body. So there's certain bacterial flora, especially the lactobacillus species of bacteria, that need to colonize the vaginal canal because they produce hydrogen peroxide and they produce things that kill infectious diseases. And so when it comes to infectious disease anywhere in our body, our bacterial balance is our primary defense against that. So I have a video on my YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81, where I talk about probiotics and intestinal dysbiosis. Intestinal dysbiosis is something that almost, unless you're like really conscious of not having intestinal dysbiosis, you probably have it. Because basically what it is an imbalance of bacteria. An imbalance of bacteria in your gut. So if you've taken antibiotics at any point in your life, it destroys your bacterial flora. And every single time you take antibiotics, it destroys it worse and worse and worse, and it's harder to come back from. We have good and bad bacteria. The good and bad bacteria cannot survive in the same environment. So if somebody coughs in your face, like we can always be exposed to infectious disease from the food we eat, the water we drink. Somebody coughed in your face, and so the way that we practice prevention truly is to make sure that we have a strong microbiome and we have a lot of good bacteria, way more good bacteria than bad. Because the good and bacteria have different requirements for life. The same way I can't jump in the ocean and say I'm going to go live in the water because I would suffocate, even though there is oxygen in the water, it's H2O. It's not the right percentage that I need, and I would suffocate. Now, if the stuff in the water tried to come live in my house, it would suffocate, right? Just like the plants in the desert, you put them in the rainforest, all that rain will kill it. And you take rainforest plants and put it in the desert, and the lack of water will kill it. So all living organisms have requirements for life. When it comes to bacteria, you have like the good bacteria that thrive in oxygen, they love oxygen, and then you have the bad bacteria that cannot survive in the presence of oxygen. As soon as they're exposed to oxygen, they die. So you have hydrogen peroxide producing bacteria. Hydrogen peroxide is H2O2, one more oxygen than water. Water is H2O, hydrogen peroxide is H2O2. Very high in oxygen. And so when you have hydrogen peroxide producing bacteria in your gut and in your vaginal canal, then if you are exposed to infectious disease, whether it be a cold, a flu, anything, viruses and bacteria are viruses and bacteria, whether it's affecting your nose, your lungs, your toe, or your vagina. And so you need to have that right balance of bacteria. And you need to have the right pH. And so this is where, so then you have also natural things. So I really believe in vaginal steams. Vaginal steams can be done periodically by women just to for general health and maintenance, and it also can be done if a woman is fighting something. So if a woman is fighting different types of infections, okay, or she might have fibroids or cysts or pelvic inflammatory disease. Any of those issues, vaginal steams can be used. And I also have a video on that. On bajos is what they're called in Mexico. And I learned about them through Pankazani, who's also known as Indigimama. Is how I was taught about steaming, vaginal steaming, which is an ancient practice of women taking steam and herbs and squatting over the pot and letting that herbal steam go into the vagina, because all of our skin is permeable. Anything that we put on our skin can get into our blood easier than if we ingest it. So the skin in the vaginal walls are even more absorbent. And so, not a douche. It's not a douche. It's steam. It's herbal steam that's going up into our vaginal canal. And it's a very potent way to get medicine into our body, but into our womb space, into our womb and vaginal canal, right? And so if a woman is fighting infections or wants to prevent that, garlic is really good to use in the steam. Oregano for sure. Oregano and garlic have both, funny because you can cook with them both, right? They have both been documented to kill infectious diseases, viruses, bacteria, especially bacterial strains. So we all know about garlic. We have garlic, oregano, sage and basil can be used. So those are really, really good. Also rose petals, lavender, calendula. But the really potent antibacterial would be, and also using like eucalyptus to pull stuff out. But oregano for sure, garlic for sure. Ginger is also good to use in the steam, and ginger is also good, ginger tea, because ginger helps to increase the circulation of blood to our genitals. Sorry, there's so many bees around here. Chicago has a lot of bees and butterflies. People don't talk about that, but I see more bees and butterflies in my neighborhood in Chicago than I see anywhere. Okay, so we talked about that. Now, also coconut oil. Coconut oil is super antiviral, antimicrobial. So even like before sex, if a woman is having sex with her partner, and I said that, and that man turned around dead in my face. Jesus, people don't know how to mind their business. So if a woman's having sex with her partner, and she is not using a condom, so somebody that she's with, putting coconut oil on his phallus is really good. Or even internally inside of her. Like if she works with yoni eggs, she can put them on the eggs. Cucumbers is also good to clean out the vaginal canal, so she can cover the cucumber, the shredded cucumber in olive oil to get the olive oil inside of her, because olive oil is a very potent anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. So is lemon juice. Lemon juice and apple cider vinegar is also good spermicide. So I don't like to talk too much about natural birth control, because birth control is complicated, and I never want to be responsible for something not working for someone and they followed my advice. But I will say, the apple cider vinegar and lemon juice are documented to be good spermicides, and really because they're so acidic, and acid kills semen, right? And the woman needs to maintain an acidic vaginal canal anyway. And so then we also have, and rosemary is also a good one. Also, so if let's say a woman does have an infection of some sort, especially, let's talk about STIs, because I get questions about that all the time. And people are often told that the only way that they can cure those things is to take these antibiotics, which is what we're told about all bacterial infections. Anytime somebody has a bacterial infection, we're told antibiotic. And anytime someone has a viral infection, we're told antiviral medication, right? But bacteria and viruses mutate, and that's how we create super strains. And we already have super strains already. We have super strains that exist in hospitals. We have super strains that football players are getting from artificial turf, where the antibiotics do not work. And now, and this has been all over the news, there is a strain of gonorrhea that is resistant to antibiotics. And so this is something that I've been studying since I was in the 10th grade. And that's why I would never fight a bacterial infection with antibiotics, because it really destroys the microbiome. The bad bacteria mutate and become more aggressive, and then you destroy your good bacteria that's really the primary fighter for you. So you don't want to do that. And every time you take a course of antibiotics, it makes it worse and worse. So if someone were to be fighting an infection, let's say it could be, this can apply for herpes, which is a virus. It can apply for HPV or bacterial infections such as gonorrhea and chlamydia. Garlic in the vaginal steam for sure. And also, like I said, the apple cider vinegar can also be diluted. Apple cider vinegar can be placed in a tampon or on a 90 egg if she works with that, or shot up inside of her. aloe vera topically is really good to just heal the skin, and is also documented to be very antimicrobial. Same thing with honey. And then there's olive leaf extract and oregano oil, which can also be the oregano oil and the olive leaf extract can also be consumed inside of a liquid drink. And then you have echinacea is always good whenever you're fighting anything, a cold, a flu, you feel like you're about to get sick. Green tea and echinacea together are really good because echinacea is good once you are actually fighting something. And when in combination with green tea really helps your bodies, really strengthens your immune system, really gives your immune system that power that it needs. And then echinacea just strengthens that. Echinacea doesn't really work too well in the prevention type situation, but once somebody is fighting an infection, echinacea is good. And echinacea and green tea together for any bacterial or viral infection. But we first must remember that, and then there's also colloidal silver. Colloidal silver, which also can be drank. You can have the colloidal silver. I hope this bee doesn't come over here. Colloidal silver extract and put it inside of a liquid and drink it. But when it comes to preventing infectious disease, whether it's food poisoning, athlete's foot, the common cold, we play a role by maintaining our microbiome. And the microbiome of the gut is something that I've been studying for years and years and years. Also taking probiotics. I didn't say that, but I talk about that. You must eat fermented foods and take probiotics. That's the number one prevention against all infectious diseases, is taking a good quality probiotic. Preferably one with a homeostatic soil organism in it. And the brand that I prefer is by Garden of Life. But probiotics, I have several videos on that on my YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81. I highly suggest you guys look at it. I know a lot of times people are more interested in watching my videos when I'm dancing half naked, but the things that I'm saying to you can help you live a longer, healthier life, okay? And it can help prevent a lot of things. And probiotics is so important for digestion. People that have allergies, if you have skin problems, if you have eczema, you have acne issues, anything weird going on with your skin is a reflection of an imbalance of bacteria in your gut. If you have food allergies, they can be cured by fixing that imbalance of bacteria in your gut. And if you get sick, like people say, oh, so-and-so made me sick, so-and-so gave me a cold, so-and-so gave me this, like, nobody makes you sick. We can always be exposed to infectious disease. If you get sick, if you get an infection, that is because your body is already off balance. And your body was already welcoming to that, so that when you got exposed to that, that virus or bacteria thrived in your system because your system was already off balance. You had the environment that it needed. Like I said, I can't go jump in the ocean, or the lake in this case, and say I'm going to live, I would suffocate. And whatever is living in the lake or the ocean couldn't come live in my house because it would suffocate. We have totally different requirements for life. And that's true of all organisms. So it is really important to understand the importance of your microbiome. And vaginal microbiomes are something that is beginning to be studied a lot. And it's something that's really important because when we start having sex with people, we start to take on their microbiomes as well. But not just that, even when you touch somebody, you shake their hand, you hug them. Your pets, a lot of people who have pets also share some of the microbiome with their pets. Bacteria are always moving around. We can't see it. It's an unseen world. So what you want to do to prevent infectious disease of all sorts, even when I went to Haiti in 2010, I know a lot of people that went there and got sick. I OD'd on probiotics before I went. And when I went, I got a little sick, but I wasn't as sick as everybody else. And sometimes it's also because the bacterial strains in that country are so foreign to our system. So like in some place like Mexico or Haiti where people who are living there are fine, but you're not from there, you come and drink the water, now you get sick because it's all about the bacteria and the microbiome. And so, yeah, for women with your vaginal health, just remember you want to maintain your pH. You want to be very conscious of that. And you want to maintain your bacterial flora, and they are linked because the bacteria that you need in your vagina to keep your vagina healthy and free of yeast infections and UTIs and all these other things, you have to have the right bacterial balance, but then also the right pH, because they survive in an acidic environment. So if it becomes too alkaline, then it can also mess that up. So another thing I keep thinking is that a woman can take, definitely consuming fermented foods, consuming like raw kefir, like raw goat's milk kefir, consuming that, but also putting it in her vaginally. She can take just, no flavor, no sugar, just a raw, plain goat's milk kefir or yogurt, but kefir has more bacteria than yogurt, so it's even more potent. And she can put that inside of her. And she can, there's different ways that she can cover it. She can dip it in the cucumber, and while she puts the cucumber inside of her, and the cucumber is very cooling and also cleansing. She can cover it over her nanny egg. She can squirt it up there. There's different things, but that also, because it's introducing good bacteria to our vaginal canal. And so as women, that's something that we want to be conscious of. And douching is not good, but steaming is good. I wholly believe in vaginal steams, or they're also known as bajos. So I think that I said everything I needed to say in this video. I'm trying to think. And all these things I say for women pertain to men in the sense that, no, a man doesn't need an acidic penis, because that's not that. So you're not thinking about that. But when it comes to the bacterial balance, super important. You guys also want to maintain that. Same thing applies. And also, what's the other thing? The steams that women do, men don't have steams, but you guys can do sitz baths, where you take those same herbs and you have it in a warm water, and you're soaking your phallus, not your balls, because you need to keep them cool. But in warm water where it's warm enough that you can feel it, but it's not burning you. So somebody asked me, does steaming help with poor vaginal scent? If a woman has a poor vaginal scent because she's unhealthy, then yeah, because it can help her get closer to being healthy. It depends on what she has a vaginal scent for, like why she has a poor vaginal scent. And it probably has to do with the imbalance of bacteria. So therefore, the steaming and the probiotics will help. You can't have one without the other. I mean, if you don't do the steaming, if you don't do the steaming and you don't deal with the herbs, right, that can definitely help. But let's say you don't deal with that. At the very least, and at the foundation, you need to have the proper vaginal microbiome. Because if you have a bunch of bad bacteria in your gut and in your vaginal canal, and you consume all these herbs, it might kill a lot of the bad bacteria, but it's still not reintroducing the good bacteria. And you need to reintroduce, you need to be conscious of that. I mean, in your body, period, but your gut, your gut and your vaginal canal, because they actually affect each other. The health of our digestive system and the health of our reproductive system is interlinked. And the herbs that work on our reproductive system also work on our digestive system. And when things in our digestive system are out of place, it can throw our reproductive system out of place. I talk about this in my videos about uterus placement and womb massage, the importance of our uterus being centered and womb massage. So I have videos on all of this, on probiotics, on vaginal steams. You can find them on my YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81. And there may be a couple of my other YouTube page, The Renaissance Amazon. But definitely follow me at The Body Scientist 81. Hopefully I've answered all your questions, and if I think of anything I didn't say, I'll make a second video. So thank you for listening, and have a good day. Goodbye, people.